I'm not even concerned about you, man. We've seen you, we've heard you, we've role played with you. You got this down, and this is one thing I want to say, and one thing I appreciate about you and Reyza is that you guys are doing this out of contribution. You're coming from contribution. We all remember what it was like being new and really not understanding what a listing presentation should look like and what you should say. And we always needed that guidance, and we didn't get it from the people we needed it from. And here you guys are stepping up to come from contribution and help fellow agents by delivering this listing presentation. It's a lot of pressure. And so I'm going to ask you guys who are on this call, stay muted. We don't need any interference from you guys. I want Pete and I want Reyza to be focused. And this is a true listing presentation. There are no gimmies. Pete's got to earn it, just like we all have to earn it when we get belly to belly with the seller. He's going to have to answer tough questions. I'm hoping he's going to ask some tough questions. He's going to have to overcome objections. And then he's going to have to close so that Reyza can sign on the line that is dotted, right? So why don't we go ahead and begin? As people join, I'll let them in. Reyza, I did make you my co-host because I got a notice from my town that they're going to be doing some rolling blackouts today. And in case I lose my connection, at least I have you as backup as a co-host. So thank you for accepting that. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you, and we're just going to do a quick countdown. Again, I'm going to say this again. Guys, please stay muted. Let's be considerate of our special guests here today.
Can I add just one thing to that? Stay muted. Same thing on the chat. Like just write on a piece of paper if you're writing anything for feedback, but leave the chat alone so it doesn't throw off the people that are doing the presentation.
Yeah, and I take that coming from Diego because he's done this before. He knows how that can be distracting as well. So let's really work to make sure they have a good experience. Mr. G, it was good to see you yesterday. And Wycliffe Lake, thank you for being here today. And I'm looking for great agents like yourself to give feedback to Pete. So if you have some feedback at the end, people will have an opportunity to do that. So with that being said, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up, and I'm gonna hand the floor over to is it Harriet or is it Reyza?
I'm Reyza.
Okay.
Yeah, you're Reyza today. You're Reyza today.
Reyza and Pete, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you guys. Thank you for giving us this learning opportunity. And I'm going to just count it down and say 1, 2, 3. You guys go ahead and get into it.
Okay, real quick. I just want you guys can hear me okay? Volume's coming through all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, cool.
Knock, knock.
Hi, Reyza. How's it going? It's 8:30 and I'm here for an appointment as scheduled. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Come on in. Thanks
All
so
right.
much for coming.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. So can you just show me the way to the kitchen?
Yeah, come on this way. Can I get you something to drink? Coffee, tea, water?
Nah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I appreciate
Okay,
that.
sounds good. All right, have a seat.
All right, perfect. So I had sent you my marketing presentation. Did you get a chance to take a look at that?
I actually did not receive it, Pete. I'm sorry. I don't know if it went to my junk mail, or I did check there, but I didn't get it.
No worries. Well, I always bring an extra copy with me. So here you go. This is actually
Okay.
it right here. So
All
if you
right,
want to
thank
just take a minute and look through that, what I'd love to do is I'd actually like to take a minute to walk through your home.
Okay.
And I'd like to do that on my own just so that I can really visualize it through the eyes of a buyer. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. And I'll take a look at this. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Take a look around, back. All right, Hazel. Well, no real surprises from what I thought we were seeing, so that's usually a good thing. So, so if it's all right with you, I'd like to just sit down and just kind of get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, perfect. So, Hazel, before I get started, what are 1 or 2 things that need to be an absolute 10 for you to hire me here tonight, or today, rather?
Well, definitely love to see, what you think the price should be for my house, and definitely, what you charge on your commission. I think that's going to be really top priority for me.
Gotcha. So what I really hear you saying is the bottom line and how much you net from the sale is going to be the most important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense, and is true for most of the clients that we hire us to sell their home. So, all right, perfect. So, so Reyza, at the end of our meeting today, really one of 3 things is going to happen. You'll have the opportunity to list your home with me. You'll decide for some reason, you know, it's not a great fit, and you'll decide not to list your home with me. Or if for any reason I feel that I can't get you what you want in the time that you want it, I may choose not to take your listing. And either one of those is fine. Is that fair enough?
Okay, is there a reason why you don't take certain listings?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen all that often, but sometimes, you know, if you know, I don't feel that I can get a seller what they want, maybe the expectations are a little bit too high. Maybe some sellers sometimes feel that they, you know, they really want or need a price that the market just isn't going to bear. In those situations, I'd rather let you down now than disappoint you later.
All right, I think that's fair.
Makes sense? Okay, perfect. All right, so let's just take a minute to review some of the questions I asked you over the phone. And you said you were moving kind of in town, but you're open to some other locations if, you know, budgetary restrictions call for that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. And ideally you're looking for a bit of a smaller house, maybe like a townhouse in the area.
Yeah, I think, you know, I thought a lot more about when we spoke yesterday, and I think moving to a townhouse makes a lot more sense for me. You know, definitely just to kind of, the whole point of this is just cutting down on expenses, and I think maybe right now that's probably ideal, you know. Or
Oh,
yeah, I mean, I'm open to a house that's smaller that doesn't require too much maintenance for sure.
okay. And what's important about less maintenance?
It's pretty much on like savings for sure. You know, uh I don't want to spend, you know, I'm not out there cutting my own grass. I don't want to spend money on landscapers, and you know, right now I'm very focused on saving money. So, you know,
Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. So, budget again, but it really just comes down to budget and just trying to, you know, maximize that monthly paycheck. I get that. Okay. And you said you needed to be there by when?
so ideally, I think, you know, it would be best to wait until spring. As long as my son gets to finish his school year, you know, like I said to you, it depends, right? If we find something in town, then I can stay here for the next 2 years or so and then decide where my future is going to take me. But it would be best to keep my son in to finish this year. Um, but I guess if I stay in town, then I can move anytime. I can move today, you know.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. And as someone who moved, you know, 100 miles starting their freshman year of high school, like I can certainly appreciate, you know, wanting to stay in the same school system and try and help him finish out the school year. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. So if we found something in town, there's really not, you know, you're pretty much ready to go.
Yeah,
If we had to move out of town, you'd want to kind of time it up so that you can keep him in school for the rest of this year before moving him out.
right.
Okay, perfect. Gotcha that. Gotcha. And you said you wanted to price your home at 600,000?
I mean, I would like more than that, but I think, you know, that's, I mean, I probably would not go down less than that.
Okay. Okay. Fair
I,
enough.
I would like to hear you tell me that I can get a lot more for my house. That would be ideal. So,
Hey, so my goal is, you know, I'd love to tell every seller that they can get much more than they want for the house. That would make my life a lot easier, my job a lot easier. But the reality is we don't decide what your home is worth, right? You don't decide what your home is worth. I don't decide what your home is worth. Ultimately, the market is going to tell us what makes sense, where to position your home, and what it will ultimately sell for. Does that make sense?
okay.
Yeah, and I'll make sure we go through that. So really, there's two things we're going to look at today. The first one is timing, and the second one is of course price. Now, you know, we are virtual here, so I'm just gonna ask you to kind of work with me a little bit here. Actually, do here. Let me share my screen real quick,
Mhm.
if I can. Well, in the interest of saving time, we'll
You
just
should
kind
be
of
good.
keep.
You should be good.
Oh, should be good now. Okay, cool. Now, don't worry about my calendar. It's pretty full, but that's always room for listing and selling homes. So no worries there. All right, so let's just take a look just over here on this side, right? So we know we've got the holidays coming up, of course. So we want to take that into consideration. But again, it's important that we go through what realistic timeline is going to look like from the time we get your home listed to the time we get it sold, right? And are you familiar with how long it's taking homes to sell here in Bloomfield?
I mean, I hear that it's pretty strong and homes are selling really fast. You know, I have a friend who sold last year and she sold it pretty quickly. So
Yeah, for sure.
uh,
So here in Bloomfield, we're seeing homes sell in about 25 days. And now when
okay.
I say sell, I mean that's about from the time they go on the market to under
Mhm.
contract. So we're
Okay.
just going to walk through this exercise real quick here. So let's say today is the 15th. Everything makes sense. We're ready to rock and roll. We get listed today. We get the paperwork out of the way. So we typically take about 5 to 7 days to get all the marketing in order. That's all the print media, all the professional photography, like you had the chance to look over before, staging, all that kind of stuff, video work, and get your home on the market the right way. So for the sake of, let's see,
Did you take your garbage out today? Just checking.
did I take my garbage out? I did take my garbage out
Okay,
today.
good. I see that on your calendar. Just wanted to make
Uh,
sure.
yeah. Well, we got to make sure we're emptying those garbages. So, yeah, thank you for asking. I did actually get that out today. My wife reminded me this morning too.
Good.
So, all right. So let's say we get this, get you listed on by today. We list the property today, get the paperwork today. So it takes us 5 to 7 days. We've got the holidays. So let's give it an extra, let's say 14 days to get you on the market for the 29th, right? So that puts us on the market at 12/29. Now we
Mhm.
see homes selling anywhere, 25 days is the average. So just to be on the safe side, let's just say 30 days from the time we get your home actually on the market on the 29th, get showings, get, offers coming in, have time to negotiate the offers, get an offer accepted, and then get you under contract. So that would put us around the end of January. So let's just say January 29th. And now
Okay.
from the time we get the property under contract, we're seeing, closing dates can be flexible, but on average, we're probably seeing about 45 to 60 days. We can do it in 30 if we needed to, but I think in your situation, we'd probably be favoring more of a 45 to 60-day timeline. So let's just say January, February. So from January to February, we've got 30 days. February to March, we got another 30 days. So we can get you there, let's say the end of March. So now we're at March 29th. And typically I can negotiate depending on where we price it and how much activity we have on the property. Typically I can negotiate an additional 30 days in the home after you close. And this is beneficial to some of our sellers because it allows you to actually get your money before you start moving. So if that's something that would be important to you, then we can actually push this to where you're not actually moving until the end of April.
Okay.
So you'd be moving really at the end of April to get you into your new home and start getting you set up. Now, listen, there's always some flexibility here. This is a rough timeline, but I think it's important to show we hear homes are selling quickly, and for a lot of us, that means that we're moving in 30 days, but that's not always the case. So how does this timeline work in with your plans?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not really sure that I would put my house on the market before, even New Year's, because I just don't want people around, with around the holidays, and I'm really not really sure that it would make sense even. I don't know that people are actually out there looking for homes during the holidays, so ideally probably, just so I can get mentally ready and I don't know, physically ready, even listing somewhere probably mid-January would make more sense for me. But in the spring market, isn't that like April anyways? April, May isn't that the best time to get the house on the market?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And we actually hear that a lot. And the reality is it really depends on the market of now, right? The spring market this year is different than the spring market last year and the year before that. But let me just first start by saying, Hazel, we will move as quickly or as slowly as you need, right? There's no pressure to get your home on the market today. But it is important that I kind of go over a couple of things that I think are some of the dangers of waiting as we look ahead to 2024 spring market and your particular situation. Can I explain?
Oh, yeah, please.
Perfect. So how familiar are you with what's been going on in the real estate market right now?
I don't know. I mean, like I said to you, I know I had friends who sold very quickly, and they were talking to me about, they had tons of offers on their house. So that I think that's what kind of motivated me to like, hey, I might want to jump on this, train here. Um,
When did they sell? Do you know when they put their home on the
I
market?
had a friend who sold on Bloomfield in 2022,
Mm.
like towards, I don't remember, mid 2022. Um, so I someone sold in January of 23, so they were talking about that, like
Yeah,
and
and
from
go
what
ahead.
I
I'm sorry.
hear, that is still the case. It hasn't changed much, but you tell me, I have no clue.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, so as a professional real estate agent, I study the market every day, right? And what we follow is our key economic indicators, right? Things such as interest rate, time on market, expired properties, active inventory, things of that nature, right? So where things haven't changed much in terms of demand, there is still a good amount of demand for homes. However, and inventory, there still remains to be historically low levels of inventory this year, which makes it a very strong seller's market. However, what we've seen over the back end, the end of 2023, is we saw interest rates rise from about 6 to 7%, all the way up as high as 8%. So what that did was put a lot of buyers who were already maybe a little bit tight at 7% when interest rates went up to 8%, uh, really kind of knocked them out of the market and kind of deflated some of those buyers out there who really want to buy now. And the really interesting thing is that it didn't have as much of an effect on home prices as you would think. It actually just kind of leveled them out instead of the rapid appreciation that we've been seeing. So my fear, I would say the danger I fear of waiting until the spring market, especially Haza, in your particular situation when you also need to buy a home, is that as interest rates now have dropped from about 8% down to 7%, and my phone is already ringing. I'm already starting to get my buyers who wanted to take a break ready to get out there and start seeing homes. I was speaking with someone yesterday who said, I feel like if I can hit it now, might be able to just time it just perfectly. Now we know it's not timing the market, it's time in the market, right? That's really going to result in success. But my
What
fear
does
is
this mean, time in the market? What do you mean about that?
Well, so take Apple stock, for example, right? You could have, it's like trying to time when the dips are going to happen and when the booms are going to happen, right? So trying to time the real estate market to get the absolute lowest price with the best interest rate, I mean, it's a fool's errand, right? What really matters is the time that you own a home over the longevity of the time that you own the home, right? We've seen history show us that over the long term, real estate is one of the best investments you can make.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So as it pertains to what the future could look like, and again, I can't tell the future, but where we're seeing interest rates start to drop, so those people who were prepared to buy at this price were priced out, are now coming back into the market in early 2024. Now, there are some predictions out there that interest rates could drop at the end of this year, but we don't really know. We do know what's happening today, the market of now. And the market of now is telling us, again, these key indicators that inventory is still low and interest rates are coming down and buyers are coming back into the market. Now, the important thing to remember is these are the buyers who have gone through the pain over the last 6 months to a year and understand that they're almost preconditioned to not asking for things on inspections, not asking for sellers concessions, giving sellers what they want in order to get the property going several, thousand over list price, waiving appraisal. So these are buyers who are really conditioned to the now market. The concern may be that although you do need to sell, you also need to purchase a home. And now if interest rates continue to decline going into 2024, we're going to see even more buyers come out into the market, which, yes, could be good for selling your home. However, will create more competition for you to purchase your home in the year ahead. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
I know we're kind of
Yes.
throwing a lot of concepts here. So,
No. That's
cool. So yeah,
that's a good explanation. I am more clear now.
And so I think one of the real advantages that you have as a home buyer in the early part of 2024, especially if interest rates are going to decline, is if you can secure a property now, even with a higher interest rate, but for a lower price than when interest rates come down and it rises all these home values again. You can't do a clawback on price, but you can always refinance your interest rate. So it could actually be an opportunity for a perfect situation heading into next year. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And where I can understand maybe being a little uncomfortable and feeling like maybe it's moving a little too soon. Would you rather be in your next place before June or after June, and maybe even early 2025 if the market shakes out to be more competitive than we anticipate?
I mean, I think for me, like I said, as long as if we stay in town, I'm good to go and take advantage of that. I'm kind of playing around with some ideas with, okay, do I sell first, and just pay off the next house, with the equity from this house, or do I take a loan? Because for me too, looking at the interest rate definitely gets a little bit scarier on like, okay, does that really make sense for me to now take this house and then pay more on interest rates, so I mean, yeah, I mean so ideally, if I can start saving money as quickly as possible, I'm very open to moving now and taking advantage of that.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I think what's really important to me, unless I get like some mind-blowing offer on this house,
Well, that's our goal.
and I can, if they want me out tomorrow, I'll make it happen. But otherwise, ideally would be, let's wait until my son graduates and then I'll move out.
Perfect. And tell me again, Hazel, what I know price and downsizing and kind of getting something more manageable financially is important, but why else were you selling this home?
So, like I mentioned to you, I am divorced, recently divorced. This house is the settlement for me. That's what I got out of the divorce. So there's no, alimony, and this is my bloodline. This is my lifeline. So, and having my son, go to college, that's also an important payment for me, to contribute to my son's education as much as I can. So this is all right now. This is all I have.
Gotcha. I understand that. So if what I hear saying is, so you own this house full out, right? And it sounds like what you're saying is that by selling this, it's going to allow you to downsize and save, on a monthly basis, but also give you some funds to help your son go through college and pay for his college.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So it's important that we make the right decision. You hired the right person and we get this thing sold for the most money possible.
Yeah, I'm definitely not looking to give this away, because otherwise I just stay here, and not pay up the wazoo in interest rates. I mean,
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, certainly nobody likes paying high interest rates. And let me ask you, what does it cost to maintain this house on a monthly basis?
so, I'm looking at
Ballpark. I know we've all got,
like around, on a good day, on a good month, it's about 5 grand. On a bad month, I'm paying, you know, anywhere between $7,000 to $8,000 in monthly expenses and taxes and, you know, water bill, electrical bill here because nobody turns off a light here. You know, so it's definitely a little bit. I would like to be more comfortable in the somewhere threes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, cool. So yeah, if we could get you, you know, into that next space where, you know, your son ideally is still in school here, we can pull some money out for his college education. So you've got a nice fund there getting started. And then you're also in your next space. Sounds like those are all the things that are most important to you. And let me ask you, are you working with anybody in the financial world, financial, you know, advisor, anybody helping you reinvest that money when you do take it out?
Yeah, I mean, I do have someone.
Okay, good.
I haven't officially hired him, but he's pretty good in guiding me in you know, it was actually speaking with him, he thought that would be an idea to sell my house.
Good. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. And then just wanted to circle back a little bit just to finish up the timing conversation. I mean, what would be more, well, let me ask you to this way. What would it look like if maybe we didn't end up making this move until the end of the year or maybe early 2025? What would that look like?
I mean, what that would look like, then that's a full year, you know, of expenses. I definitely didn't want to get to, you know, right now my son is out all the time and, you know, me being unable to like clean out snow, and although lucky last year we didn't get much snow, but I'm just not like, you know, and that's what an ideal for me to be in a townhouse is that I don't have to deal with the outside maintenance, you know, like I don't want to deal with snow. I don't want to deal with the summer cutting grass and, you know, those expenses. So I'm looking at that way. Could I wait till the end of the year? Sure. Right. I mean, but I feel like if I can just get ahead and start saving now, I think that would make more sense. But again, what do you think? You looked at my house, you know my situation. What's my house worth?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So we certainly want to what we're going to get into that right now. But yeah, it sounds like it makes the most sense to get your home sold this year, really get you settled by June, right? We're in agreement with that. That makes the most sense.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Fair enough. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's one thing. Like I said, we're going to talk about price now. So really there's two parts to what we call comparative market analysis, right? We take a look at the active inventory, which is what homeowners list their homes for. And then we take a look at the under contracts and solds, which is really what real estate agents list and then ultimately sell properties for, right?
Okay.
So the real purpose of the comparative market analysis, or what we call a CMA, is really determine the value of your home in the eyes of a buyer, right? And Hazel, do you know how buyers determine value?
I guess by comparing.
100%. Yeah. So exactly. So they take a look at your home pretty much based on its features and benefits, right? Bedrooms, bathrooms, location, things like that. And they compare it to features and benefits of other homes in the area and homes that have recently sold also in the area. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So just for like a quick example, right? Say you're going out to buy a new car and a dealership has that car listed for $50,000, right? And then you go to another dealership and that same car is also listed for $50,000, but that car has heated seats, it's got like the sunroof, it's got like the whole, you know, all those extra bells and whistles. Which car? Right, exactly, right? That's the one that we're going to go for. Now, say that first dealership that didn't have all the bells and whistles and all that stuff took that $50,000 car and then put it on sale for $40,000. Which one would have more value then?
I mean, coming from a place where I'm telling you I need to save the most that I can, I would take the cheaper car, yeah.
Right. And you know, that makes total sense. So you can see if you want to increase value, right, you either lower the price or you have more features and benefits for the same price. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So unless you're planning on adding any features and benefits to your home here, and are you?
what, I mean, I don't think so. I think my house looks pretty good right now, you know, unless you tell me otherwise. I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, there's always some things we can do to improve what we call the showability of a home. But at the end of the day, I mean, when we talk about features and benefits, what we're really talking about is bedrooms, bathrooms, maybe finishing a basement. I mean,
Mhm.
are you looking to do any of those kinds of things?
No.
No, right? Yeah, no. Most people are not, and a lot of times we don't advise them to. So really, the only thing to do then is look at price, right? Because we're not going to add any features or benefits. So really, the name of the game is, okay, what are we compared against? So just before we even get started, I just want to make sure I have your information right. So we're at 33 Parkway. Um,
Mhm.
we have 4 bedrooms and 1 full bathroom, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I have per the tax records listed at about 1,600, almost 1,700 square feet of living space, which, you know, it looks like you added on to the porch here, which kind of gives you that extra bunch here. So that sounds about right. You have central air here, right?
Yes.
Okay, forced hot air as well. And then I see you've got the garage in the back. Okay, perfect. Taxes around 11,500. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just always like to make sure we're talking about the same house here before we get get too far into it. So, all right, perfect. So again, comparable market analysis, what we really look at is we look at what is active on the market. We call that our competition, right? That's what other home buyers are going to go and compare your home to. Then we have our under contracts, which give us a little more information, right? Our active properties we know are our competition, but they really don't give us a ton of information because, again, that is just what a homeowner listed their home for, what a homeowner essentially wants. We don't really know what the market is telling us until we see a property go under contract. That gives us a good idea that with the features and benefits at a specific price, how quickly we more or less we can kind of anticipate it to sell. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mhm.
Perfect. And then our solds are a real cold, hard facts, right? They tell us when the property was listed, how much it was listed for, how quickly it sold, and then how much it sold for. Make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes.
Perfect. So this property here, this is 51 Farrendale. Now, this is really not a comparable property to your home. So I'm sure when I sent this over to you, you were like, oh my gosh, he's coming in at
Yes, I was
299.
already internally freaking out. I was gonna fire you right now.
Fair enough. I could understand that. So, you know, I just wanted to point this out. Now, this is not a true comparable. This is an old historic home that needs tons of restoration. However, it is in your neighborhood. So I just wanted you to know that I am aware of what's going on. And I just wanted to make sure you know, we did discuss this in case it came up.
Mhm.
Now, when we look at Bloomfield, you know, as I'm sure you know, we've got really varying ends. So we've got the north end, which is the Brookdale section, and then we've got the south end, which is closer to Watchung Ave and a little bit closer to, you know, Newark and you know, the Oranges. Just now, listen, every house is specific into itself, right? But generally speaking, we see the homes on the north end sell for a little bit more money than what we see on the south end. Would you agree with that? Does that make sense?
Yes. Mhm.
Perfect. So we're looking at 247 Broughton Avenue. This is a little bit closer to the north end, and it has how many bedrooms?
4,
Okay, how many bathrooms?
2.
Okay, and this is an active property at the moment. I'm sorry, this is under contract,
Mhm.
and it was listed for how much?
475.
Perfect. Yeah, and how many days on the market?
27.
Perfect. Yep. So, and now this house, you know, as you can see from the photos, and you know, listen, I'll tell you, real estate is simple, but it ain't easy. You're never going to see us list a property, especially on a double yellow, where the double yellow is exactly in the picture. Doesn't look great for a lot of home buyers who come in. So, yes, it is on, you know, Broughton Avenue, you know, which is a little bit of a busier street.
Yeah.
It is a little bit smaller. It's about 1,200 square feet, but listed at 475. Did go under contract in 27 days. And I do have a note here that they did actually receive multiple offers and they did ask for best and final offers. So any questions on this one? Have you seen this one?
No, I have not, but I know where that is.
Okay, perfect. All right. We're moving right along. We're going to go to 1620 Broad Street. This is also under contract here in Bloomfield and also towards the north end. So this is how many bedrooms?
4,
And full baths
1.
and 1 half bath.
Okay.
Now this was originally listed at what price?
550.
And then C, when we see a OLP and LP, that shows us that they ended up doing a price reduction to 525.
Okay.
This is 1788, so this is a little bit of a bigger home than what you have here. And how many days did it take to sell?
29.
Yeah, so it took about almost 30 days to sell there. This does not have a garage, which we know yours does have a garage, so that's definitely an extra benefit. This home is, it's a pretty comparable home. It's a
I
little
just
bit
don't
bigger.
understand why did they do a price reduction in only 29 days? I mean, I would have probably kept it. That's doesn't seem like it was on the market for that long to do a significant price change.
Yeah, so I mean, when you're seeing homes sell in about 25 to 30 days, and you're going on about 2 weeks, and you haven't received any offers, that's really when we start to take a look. Now, we also we see what the feedback is, right? So pretty much, once you put a home on the market, you still have some information, some research to do, and see what the market is ultimately telling you, right? So within that 2 week period, you should be getting a ton of showings. And in today's market, truthfully, you should start to get offers within the first 2 weeks. Now, if they notice that maybe the feedback they were getting was the condition, or maybe the price, or maybe even worse, you're really out of the ballpark if you're not even getting people coming to see the house. So they may have been in a position where they weren't getting the activity that they wanted. So they decided to reduce the price.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so 113 Chester. So this is a little bit closer again to the south end. So this has 1,481 square feet, so a little bit smaller. And this has how many bedrooms?
4.
Okay, how many bathrooms?
2.
2 full baths. Listed for what price?
520.
And you can see here it's sold for that same price at 520.
Mm-hmm.
So listed and sold for 520. How many days on the market?
51.
Yeah, 51 days on the market.
Okay.
So yeah, again, this is another comparable property. This is a little more updated, just like more modern kinds of finishes. It looks like it was maybe even partially renovated before they put it on the market, but it's listed at 520, sold at 520. And now the other thing that's worth pointing out here is this was listed in July. The real estate market, the interest rate environment, the conversation was a lot different in July than it is here, in December of 2023. So similar to what we were talking about earlier. And then last but not least, we have 22 Bird. Again, this is on the north end. This has how many bedrooms?
4.
And full bathrooms?
2.
Okay, perfect. Listed at what price?
569,999.
And you see here it's sold for 575, so a little bit over list price. How many days on the market?
23.
Okay, so in 23 days, they were able to get this thing sold for just over list price by a little over, just about $5,000 here. So, and this is about just under 1,500 square feet, so it's a touch smaller. This is a pretty updated house. This is a nice looking house. It has a 2-car detached garage, and it does have a nice, pretty good size yard here in the back. So, and that sold at 569.
Yeah,
So,
but that I'm noticing here, I just kind of glanced, the house doesn't even have central air, where mine does.
yeah, central air definitely is definitely a plus to some home buyers. There's some home buyers who prefer it. I think most home buyers do prefer central air, to be honest. So that definitely does, play a part in it as well.
Okay.
So based on these comparables that we looked at today, I mean, where do you feel we should list your home to create value in the eyes of a buyer?
Well, what are your thoughts?
Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, so I would recommend a price of 550 to get your home on the market and create the most value for home buyers to come see your home. So Hazel, will you look at your home with me for that price tonight?
Not at 550. I think, I know I have one less bathroom, but you know, my house, I don't know. I would like to try, I would like to be at around 600. I think 550 is just gonna give me a low ball offer, and I don't feel comfortable with that at all.
Okay, so you're looking to, you're really firm on the 600 number.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I would rather like wait to get the right price, you know, than to rush and get a low offer. I mean, and if that's the case, I don't know that that would make sense for me to sell.
say that again. Tell me more about that.
I'm just saying, like, you know, I mean, I list at 550, that's pretty low. It's not where I was thinking. And then I feel like if I list at 550, I'm gonna get an even lower offer. I would
Gotcha.
rather try at 600 and see, you know, where I'm at with that. And then if that price, then like you said, the market is not receptive to that price, then we can talk. But I think 550, it's not a good place to be.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And if we were to try your home at 600 and it ultimately ended up selling for less than 550, I mean, is that something that would make sense? I mean, no, right? That's a pretty
Yeah.
obvious question, I suppose. So what's the price you absolutely have to have?
Well, so with that, I mean, well, then that brings me to my question, how much you charge for a commission? Because I think, you know, if I have to take a lower price and then on top of it, obviously pay your commission, I can't
Right.
be at 550, you know, somewhere at 575 would probably get me in a good position to purchase another home.
Okay, 575. And you
So
said, you know,
if we start at 600, 600, 605, can we do that? 605, then let's just say someone then offers me, I don't know, 590, 580, 590, then I can cover your commission and maybe be in landed where I'm. What do you think?
gotcha. So we went from 575 to 605 to 580 to 590. So
Yeah, I would like
help me understand what price do you absolutely have to have here?
I mean, at 575 is where I'm
Five.
thinking, yeah.
575. Okay. And you know, Reyza, I mean, I do think it's, you know, it's worth saying. I mean, it's important to me that we sell your home for the highest dollar amount. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is we know that the more we sell your home for, the better chance we have of receiving referrals from you and from your family. And the higher we sell your home for, the better chance we have of doing business with your neighbors. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if it's okay with you, what I'd like to do is just come up with a list of reasons why your home holds more value in the eyes of a buyer. Is that fair?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So what are some reasons that you feel your home is worth more than, for example, here, this one at 22 Bird, or some of the homes that we looked at that are selling in the market today?
Okay. Well, I updated my bathrooms and I did some small updates to my kitchen, painted the cabinets and such. My roof is new, so, you know, only 2 years old. I mean, like I said to you on the phone, I need to kind of make up some of the expenses that I put into that house to make the house better.
For
You
sure.
know,
So when did you update the bathrooms?
the bathroom, I did it like about a year and a half ago. The roof was 2 years ago. The kitchen I painted over the summer. I painted the cabinets. You know, I have central air. I mean, this house here, I know it has one bathroom more, but if you're looking to put a central air, you know, you're looking at around $15,000 and they got 575 for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would make sense to, you know, you know, there's potential here to put a second bathroom, right, in the basement. So I mean,
So let me ask you, Reyza, if the buyers who were coming into your home were planning to completely rip out the bathrooms and start over because they wanted a different style, do you think that the updated bathrooms would hold that additional value?
I mean, if I don't know if they don't like the tile or the color, they can change it. But my point is it's not a raggedy bathroom that they would
No,
have
not
to
at all.
make any changes right now, you know. I mean, anybody could come and change it around, you know. I guess ultimately, you know, I would say, how much is your commission? Because that would then determine where we would land um, on the price. What do you?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, Hazel, and I'd love to get into that conversation. We absolutely will. However, it's extremely important that we come to an agreement on price, because if we're not in the same ballpark of price, it really doesn't matter what my commission is. It doesn't matter what I'm doing to sell homes. What matters is that we price your home in a strategically in a place where you're going to get the most offers, the best terms, and get you into the place that you need, excuse me, by June, right? So that we can get your son settled before the next school year, keep him in the same area, and get you downsized so we can start saving for his college fund. I mean, is that
Okay.
fair enough? I mean, we're on the same
Yeah,
page.
of course.
Yeah.
So
So
after
what
you
I
and I, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You go
what
first.
yeah, what I'd like to do is just kind of, have you ever seen this before, the pricing triangle? Because I think this is an important thing to consider.
No, I have not.
Okay. So what this shows us here is, you know, studies show us that when we price a home right in where we believe to be about fair market value, right? So this red spot here shows us fair market value. And this shows us that about 60% of the home buyers who are looking for a home just like yours, when this home hits the market in line with fair market value, about 60% of those buyers are actually going to come out and see your home in person. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And we know that the more people who come out and see your home in person, the better chance we have of getting multiple offers, getting the right terms on top of the right price, right? Because Haza, the price ultimately doesn't matter if the terms aren't in alignment with getting that to the closing table. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we also know that if we were to price your home 10% below fair market value, which is about where maybe we're off a little bit, right? Where you're looking 575, we're maybe more, you know, around the 550 number. If we were to price you at 75% below fair market value, so say I'm off by 10% and I'm, you know, 550 is off by 10%. That means that 75% of those buyers who are looking for your home are going to come in and actually see it in person, which means we're going to have an even better chance of getting better terms, better price, and ultimately the market will tell us that this home is priced and worth more than the 550. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mhm.
Now, the danger of listing too high, of listing at 600, the thing that I fear about that is that we know when we price 10% above fair market value, that's going to take that 60% and it's going to cut that down in half. Now, do you know what happens? I'm sure I don't have to tell you, but what that looks like if there aren't as many people coming to the house, if the house is hanging. I mean, you've looked around on Zillow, I'm sure, right? In
Yeah.
anticipation, right? What happens when you see a home that's been on the market for 30, 45 days? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm assuming that people might think that there's something wrong with the house or, you know.
And that's the fear, Haza, right? We can always adjust price. We can overcome the pricing objection. The challenge is when people start to feel that, you know, what if there's something wrong with it? People start to build stories in their head, and that is the biggest danger, right? Days on market is the enemy to your home's value. And by listing at 600, that's my concern, is that we're going to list it too high and we're going to cut that number in half and we're not going to have the activity that we want to see, which then ultimately means people start to wonder what's wrong with it. And we're not getting you into the next step where we can start really saving some money and get you, you know, not having to worry about the maintenance and start saving for your son's college. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's my fear about listing now, because already the holidays will, I feel, decrease people, you know, coming in, you know. That was why I you know, thought maybe the spring market would be better, but
Yeah,
I
and most people do think that. And in most cases, a lot of years that can be true, but what we're dealing with right now is actually unprecedented rate changes, increases, drops, and seeing the interest rate drop almost a full percentage point in less than 30 days is unprecedented. And what that's doing is creating a real opportunity for home sellers right now who are marketed properly, have proper representation, and most importantly, priced correctly to really capitalize on today's market.
Yeah. So, Pete, after we spoke yesterday, I had mentioned to you that I was interested in speaking with another agent and getting at that when by the time we hung out, I mean, I didn't know who I was going to go with, but I had called a friend and she recommended her realtor that sold her house back in 22. And, she had
Are they still in the business?
Yeah, actually, I called him yesterday, and it so happened that he was able to come by yesterday. So I did end up speaking with someone else yesterday, which I'm really happy about because I wanted to meet with you, and now I have like two perspectives. And your price and his price are different, which
Where did he say? Where did he say you should
he
sell?
thinks for me, if I listed at 599, then price it, and he talked about perhaps getting multiple offers. So 599 sounds a lot more attractive than 550. So
But let me
that's
ask you, Reyza, I mean, for someone buying your home, which number do you think sounds more attractive?
well, someone buying it, I mean, obviously 550.
Right. So what do you think is ultimately, which number do you think would bring more people into your home?
550, but then I don't want them to, again, lowball that.
Right. Right.
So
and if they came in to see your house at 550 and they came to the open house and we had 20 people in here all looking at your house and all interested in it, do you think that they're more or less likely to lowball an offer on your home?
I would hope not.
Right. Yeah. They know that there's other people out here who are also interested in the same home. And that's what I want for you, Reyza. I don't want to list your home at 600, have an open house and have one or two people come in. And then you have a real opportunity for someone to lowball you and really not only just price, Reyza, because they can offer you 599, 600, but the comps here are telling us that this thing is going to appraise somewhere in the high fives, probably around the 575 mark. I think you're pretty spot on with that. And I believe that our best shot of getting 575 for your home is listing at 550 based on what the data is telling us, what the market is telling us. And with the decrease of interest rates, it's only going to help our chances.
Okay, so let's just say I did agree to 550, right? Again, I'm not accepting 550. I just want you to, I don't want to disappoint you either. I know you said
Reyza, you don't have to. My expectation, would not be for you to accept an offer that does not make sense for you. That's not what we're here. We're in this together again, and my goal for you, for you and for me is to get this home sold for the most money possible.
Right. Which then now brings me to my question of what your commission would be,
Fair enough. So let me ask you, I mean, if my commission made sense, everything made sense, would you list your home with me for 550 today?
Yeah, I mean, I like you. The other guy, I felt a little bit, I don't know, there was a cockiness to him that I really like you, and you're explaining things a lot more clear for me to understand. So I do feel comfortable with you. Again, ultimately is who's going to sell my house for the most and not charge me so much commission. And not that I feel like, you don't deserve to get paid, for your services. But for me, like, this is all I have, and
I get that. Yeah. And you got to get every penny out. So, I mean, let me ask you, I mean, what are you looking for? Are you looking to hire the cheapest agent? Or are you looking to hire the best agent?
No, I mean, I'm looking to hire the most sense and reasonable agent.
The best agent who's going to get you the most money in your pocket. Am I right?
And he sold my friend's house. So, there she vouched for him, and what he you know, was able to get for her house. And her house is a little bit better than mine, you know, as far as like, she actually has less bedrooms than mine, but her house is a lot more updated, and she sold it for 663. I don't, so that's
Was that
why,
in the Brookdale section? I think I know which house that was. That was over by the park, right?
yeah, 16 Eaton Place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You
those
know?
are, yeah, those are completely, yeah. Unfortunately, you know, with Brookdale Park being right there on the border of Montclair, it's a totally different world.
Right.
Yeah. So all right. So we're pretty much in agreement. We're in the ballpark. Sounds like we can pretty much come to an agreement on price. It's just got to make sense. So let me ask you, I mean, when we talk about commission, what's more important, the price that you pay in commission or how much you net from the sale?
Well, not necessarily, as long as I stay within that 575 area, then I guess it doesn't really matter, right? As long as
Right. It matters what you net from the sale. So let's take a look at what these numbers could look like, right?
But then if I can net more, because you can charge me a less commission, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, if I charge you less and it meant your home was going to sell for less, would that work for you?
Wait, say that one more time.
So if I charge you less commission, but your home sold for less, would that work for you? No. Right. So commission is less important than what your home sells for and what you actually net from the sale. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look at this. So let's say we listed at 550. That's absolute worst case, and we actually get an offer in at 550. And now you said you don't owe anything on the home, correct?
Right.
Any other debt that you're looking to pay off with the proceeds from this sale? I don't know, another home equity line of credit, second mortgage, anything like that?
No, I mean, you know, I would like to, again, I think a lot of this money would go to my next home, purchasing it outright, and, you know, I need to put a significant, deposit on my son's college education. So, you know,
But no debts or anything that would have to
No.
come out prior to, okay, perfect. So
No.
let's say 550, with both the listing commission and buyer's agency commission, with what you're paying out to the state of New Jersey, because of course they got to get a piece. Recording fees are usually pretty minimal. They might have gone up a little more than 7,500. Average for an attorney, what you're paying is about $1,500. If you wanted to add a home warranty, I don't build that in. It's not really something we do a lot of, especially in a home like yours, which is pretty, you know, is nice and pretty clean. I always include buyer closing costs. So this would be if maybe there was something that was found during a home inspection. About on average, I usually see around 2,500 that we come to negotiate, where, you know, if it covers a hot water heater or something along those lines. But nothing as far as paying off an existing mortgage, because you don't have any. So all said and done, your estimated expenses for closing at 550 would bring you walking away with about $507,425. How would that work for you?
ugly. What you
Ugly.
the wording there, ugly.
So
Yeah.
we've got ugly there. So at about 575, all said and done, you're looking at about 530 walking away, 530. And then in a perfect world, absolute perfect world, selling at 600,000, you're walking away with about 553. So in a more reasonable world around this 575 sale price, you're looking at about a $530,000 walking away with. How does that number look for you?
So your broker fee is on there too.
Oh yeah, yep. So we've
What's
got.
I'm sorry, math is not my forte. What's the percentage there?
So that's at 6%. We pay out 2.5% to the buy side, because we want to attract a quality agent. And then 3.5% is what we use to list your home and get it the best marketing. This is all our top listing package.
6%.
Correct.
That's a lot. That's a lot, Pete. I'm sorry. That's 6%. So I was able to work out a different commission with Jonathan, and he's actually kind of made it two-sided.
Tell me more. What do you mean by two-sided?
Meaning if he sells my house himself and brings the buyer, he's charging me 4%. And if another agent brings in the buyer, then I'm paying out 4.5%.
Wow, 4.5% total commission.
Yes. So then, yeah. So
And you said
that's
his name is Jonathan?
Jonathan Green.
Mm.
He's the one that sold my friend's house.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. And honestly, it sounds like Jonathan knows what he's worth. But Haza, I know what I'm worth, and I know what your home is worth, and I'm going to do everything I can to get you every penny out of this home.
And yesterday you said the commission is negotiable, so 6%.
Well, commission in the state of New Jersey is negotiable, yes.
Oh, so yours is not?
Not really. Is there anything aside from commission that would stop you from listing your home for $550 with me today?
I'm getting double yam here. Like, I'm getting hit with a lower price and a higher commission, and it's just not making sense for me. So if you can work on your commission to make my takeaway higher, that's something that we can talk about. But definitely 6%. I mean, I know the homes are selling quickly, much quicker. And not that your time is not worth, I'm not saying that, so please don't get.
No, it's fine. Well, let me ask you, Haza.
I see other agents selling for 4% and other agencies, negotiating. And then I even saw there's a weird van that drives around here and they advertise at 1%. I don't want that guy, because
I was going to say, you want the weird van selling your
no,
house?
no, I don't. But at 6%, we're really pushing it, and I certainly do not feel comfortable with that.
Sure.
If I have to pay you 6%, I unfortunately will talk to Jonathan again.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hold on. Can I just put you on hold for just one quick second?
Sure.
Good job.
He went to go.
So Haza, I hear what you're saying, Haza, and listen, I want this to make sense for you, because I can understand how it feels like a big number. It feels like, well, listen, if I could just sell it for less higher number, less commission, that means more money in my pocket. It means happy life. I can get my son to college. And unfortunately, that's just not always the case. So have you ever heard of what's called buying a listing?
Yeah.
So yeah, so Hazel, listen, I've done enough business. I've been here long enough. I mean, I'm here not to tell you what you want to hear, but to tell you what you need to hear to get you to that next step in your life, right? So when we talk about buying a listing, Hazel, it'd be very easy for me to come in here, charge you a discounted commission, give you a price that sounds amazing. And unfortunately, what's going to happen then over the next 2 to 3 to 4 months, what my fear for you is that the agent is then going to continue to tell you need a price reduction. You're going to beat you over the head for a price reduction. Really be focused on, getting a buyer themselves for the property, right? Because, again, I work for you. I don't work for myself. And let me ask you, I mean, are you familiar with how real estate commission works here in the state of New Jersey?
I mean, he explained yesterday in a sense where, needing to buy, to pay out a buyer's agent, and that's why he worked out that price, if he brought his own clients, which he felt very confident, that he also had, buyers in his, that were looking. I know you mentioned that your phone is ringing. So could you get those buyers to show my house to them? And so then now we have double side of the commission. I would think that's something that you would, be incentivized by, bringing your own clients and selling this house to them.
For sure. But do you want someone representing you who is more interested in bringing their own buyer as opposed to the very best qualified buyer, regardless of the commission that they make?
really, that doesn't really matter to me, as long
Mm.
as obviously I do expect that, the person that he brings is qualified,
Mm.
it,
And
it doesn't really matter.
who's gonna help you determine if that buyer's qualified?
Oh, I mean, I'm assuming that he is,
Mm.
he would
Mm.
have to show me, something, just like I would have to show that I can afford my next house. And I have a very confident in my attorney too, who's so happened to be actually a really good friend who would be helping me as well, and guiding me through making a decision that's best for me.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, Okay. All right. So let's just real quick before we go too much further into that, because I can appreciate that. I think one of the fears, one of the dangers that you have in that is, again, someone who's just bringing a buyer to get the most commission, as opposed to really looking out for your best interests to make sure that you get the most qualified buyer in for, for the sale of your home. Because again, it doesn't matter what the offer is. It doesn't matter what the purchase price is. It matters that it actually gets to the closing table. Am I right?
It matters that I get to the closing table with the price that I need to survive. Like I said to you, this is all I have, Pete. And at 6%, I'm already shut down, and I'm going to say no. I would rather explore other options. And if that doesn't work out, then I won't sell. And
Yeah, Hazel, what I
it's
hear you say, so let me just bear with me for 1 second here, because I'd like to kind of explain how real estate commission works. Can I do that?
sure.
Okay, perfect. So let's just say this $20 here, as I'm freezing, represents my real estate commission. Did you guys lose me?
I can see you, but you are frozen.
Okay, so we're gonna switch here. I think
There
my
you go.
phone died.
That's
So let's say this $20 represents the real estate commission here, right? 6%. And when we're talking about, how this works now, I always like to start by saying, I mean, first off, I think it's important that people understand that as real estate agents, we don't get paid an hourly wage. We don't get paid, workers' comp. We don't get paid, unemployment if we go out. We don't get pensions. We don't get any retirement funds, matching 401ks, anything like that. We pay for our own healthcare, and we pay our own taxes at the end of the year. Now, listen, I'm not complaining. I absolutely love what I do. I chose this profession, and I'm very happy to be here. However, it is just important to understand, because when we talk about the real estate commission, so we know that right off the bat, right, when we're participating with other brokers who bring buyers, we're paying out a good portion of that commission right off the bat, and that goes out to the buy side, right? So this is what we have. Now, we also know that we have, Keller Williams gets their cut, right? We know that they get, their piece of the pie. We also know that, of course, Uncle Sam gets his piece of the pie, right? So now that 6%, which felt, I get it, agents make way too much money. Everybody's driving white BMWs and making fancy TikToks, right? They get paid a ton of money. But now it's starting to get kind of slim, and it's actually not as much as you would think. Then we have, my non-negotiable, right? So as I mentioned before, I have to pay taxes. I have to pay, healthcare, insurance, retirement, all that kind of stuff. So that big commission check boils down to this. And do you know what this represents? This represents the amount that we have to market your home, to get you the best offer that we can get you. And now what I would ask you is, when somebody who is starting off with less, and we already know they have to pay, what they need to survive. We know that they have to pay Uncle Sam, they have to pay all their brokerage fees and all that kind of stuff. Well, where do you think the extra money is coming from if they're reducing and discounting their commission to sell your home? Where do you think that money comes from?
the marketing.
The marketing. And so again, the danger is, listen, if commission is the only thing that's important to you, then, we may not be a great fit. But if selling your home for the most money and hiring somebody who is here to represent your best interest, get you to the closing table, get you into your next home, which is no easy feat. We've got a lot of things to take into consideration here. And do you want somebody who can't even negotiate their own family's, their family retirement to represent the biggest sale and purchase of your life?
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I completely respect you defending your commission. but just like you said, the same way that you have to pay your bills and everything else, this is my survival money. And you know, I cannot put myself in a position where I'm scrambling at the end of the day, and my son's education, you know, is compromised, and I just don't feel comfortable at 6%. Having said that, I think that if you and I can work something out, I liked you. You're a great presenter. I'm comfortable with you. I mean, you're still here. You didn't walk away, but I think that if we can come up with a more comfortable place, if you can match up Jonathan's commission, I would be willing to give this a try with you. If not, I will go with Jonathan at this time.
Yeah, fair enough, Hazel. So listen, we can't do it for 4.5%. That's just it would be a disservice to you. It just would not put you in the best position to win. So I would rather, truthfully, I would rather let you kind of roll the dice with Jonathan, who honestly, it sounds like maybe not totally confident that can get the job done and get you to the closing table. And I'd rather see on the other end when, unfortunately, you know, maybe things don't work out, and we can pick it up from there and kind of go from there.
Okay.
Now, again, if we were, now let me just go back to price. Now, if we were to list this property on the market, we would be comfortable listing at 550, correct?
I would be comfortable. If you're saying if I list for 550, I can land somewhere at 575.
I think you have the best chance. Your best chance of selling at 575 is listing at 550 without
Okay.
a doubt.
If that makes sense, that's your world. I'll trust you with that. I don't want to see less than 575, so I just want to prepare you for that. And then, you know, the commission and the expenses for me.
Gotcha. Okay. So we can list this property at 575. What I can do for you is we can actually, if we
List
bring the
at
buyer,
575?
I'm sorry, list at 550,
Okay.
550.
Okay.
And what we can do is if we bring the buyer, we can do a reduced commission to 5.5%. Would that work for you? Okay.
We can do, if you can match up Jonathan's commission 4.5%,
Yeah.
because I know you were saying, you know, you had made a comment that he didn't seem, you know, maybe he's not confident. I think he was even a little bit cocky, like I said to you, about how much he can get me, and he suggested 599. That sounds a lot more exciting than paying, you know, already listing my house lower. I'm okay with your strategy with the price. Right. But it would make more sense for me to pay less commission. I think that given the market condition, like, you know, I think given the market condition that if homes are still strong, like selling, I would, you know, maybe I'll use you on the buy side because you seem like a strong negotiator on the buy side. You know, but I think my house, I would like to test it out and see if it would sell quickly and pay less commission.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, maybe you and I can talk after, you know, that, since, you know, June is really my target, you know, maybe I can see if Jonathan will sign something, not for, you know, maybe a shorter time, you know, first 3 months. And then if I don't get what I'm looking for, then, you know, you can give me a kick in the butt and say, I told you so. But at this time, I think really, that's where I stand.
Yeah.
I would love to work with you. I just need you to be a little bit more flexible with your commission.
Yeah, Hazel, listen, I can appreciate that. I mean, 4.5, again, that's just too much of a discounted number. I mean, there's no way that we can, it's essentially taking the hammer out of the carpenter's hand, right? I mean, to get you the absolute most money, it needs to be all hands on deck. It needs to be every single thing that you can do to maximize the exposure to your home. Because Hazel, what we've seen is the difference between tens of thousands of dollars can be one buyer, right? It can be one person that walks through your home that can make the difference between you netting 550, 575, 600, maybe even more. We're very comfortable at 6%. We've worked with many clients in the past that have had excellent results. So the fear is we would just have to take too much away. We wouldn't be able to give it our best effort. And if that's the case, then ultimately, we wouldn't be doing the right thing by you. So
You do it for 5%?
5%. I mean, listing at 550. What would we take away? I mean, that's my concern is what would we take away? And for us,
I don't want to take it away anything. I mean, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
I'm already going lower and bringing myself up, and I do find that I can be stubborn, and I need to protect myself as well. So
I'll tell you what, Haza, because I like you and we've spent a good amount of time together, and honestly, I don't want to see you in a rough position. 2 months from now, market house hanging around on the market. What we can do is we can list it for 5.5%, and if we bring the buyer,
you need to go down.
well, if we bring the buyer, we can do it for 5%. Does that work?
I would do 5% flat. Like, that's my walk away right now. 5%.
5% flat. Yeah. We're so close, Haza. And again,
We are.
I'd
So
hate to have to walk away over 0.5%, but unfortunately I've walked away for less. So we really have to stick at 5.5%. And again, Haza, we're in this together, right? I want to be 100% invested in you. And we ask that, that's kind of where we're at. That's what we need to bring all the best buyers in this marketplace to your home. And to get you the absolute best. But again, it's not even just that, right? We want to make sure that we're advising you. We want to make sure that we're lining you up every step of the way to succeed, because we live by the rule that it's a win-win or no deal, right? It's not about us in this industry, right? We work by referral, and there's a difference between transactional discount brokers and referral agents. And can I explain a little bit about what that is and why that matters to you? So transactional agents are just coming in. They're just trying to crank out deals. They're trying to sign listings. They're going to tell you whatever price they need to at whatever commission they need to get your business, right? And I'm not saying that's what Jonathan is. I don't know that I know him, but I know that unfortunately that is something that happens in this business. Relationship brokers, like we call ourselves, relational agents, are agents who work mostly by referral. Last year, 87% of our business came from repeat and referral business. So the reason that matters to you is because Haza, by the end of April, early June, when you're like closing on that new house and you're moving everything and you can feel comfortable and have the peace of mind of knowing that you have a lower monthly bill, your son is set up with his college fund and he's able to finish his last year in the same school district. Our goal is when you're pulling the sign out of the yard or you're loading up your last boxes here, when your neighbors or your friends or your family come around or you're doing the housewarming and they say, listen, how was it selling your home and doing all this? This seems like so much that you had to manage. Our goal is for you to say, here, take Pete's number right now. Don't even waste your time on anybody else. He and his wife, Ashley, made sure that we were comfortable. We understood everything, every single step of the way. And we, not only that, got the most money for our house. And I'm glad we did it when we did. And which I didn't really want to, but he told me everything. And we are absolutely thrilled. So you have to call Pete. Now, Haza, you're not going to do that if I don't deliver that experience for you. Is that correct?
Right. For sure.
And we having our business run almost 90% on referral is extremely important to us. So does that make sense why it makes sense for you to hire a relational broker as opposed to a transactional broker?
Yeah, and I yes, that totally makes sense. But as you're speaking here, what's going through my mind is that Jonathan was referred to me by someone, right?
Mhm.
So I found you online, and so I wanted to speak with you. And what I'm also thinking is that you're also going to be making commission if you represent me on the buy side. So that's already, more money. Not that, again, have to emphasize this, you deserve, to get paid and you're doing your job. But I think that even coming up on the 5, like doing it for 5, knowing that, okay, this is a sale, I'm going to work with her also and represent her on the buy side. I think that we can get to a place where we can compromise. Otherwise, I am sorry, I'm going to say that I need to digest all of this. I am leaning towards Jonathan at this point. Unless we can do it for 5%. I like you. I like the fact that you are totally, defending your commission, and that's the type of agent that I want on the my buy side. And I wouldn't mind, if I feel like I didn't like Jonathan's maybe work, I can hire you on the other end for sure.
Gotcha.
If you want to work with me after all of this.
Yeah, listen, I do this every single day. I'm a professional. I don't take this stuff personally. And if you feel that Jonathan is going to give you the absolute best opportunity to get your home sold for the most money, then you have to do what you feel is right.
Yeah.
Again, I think when we break down the commission, I'm not really sure how that would be possible, to really market your home properly and to really bring all of the buyers, and really spend the time too, right? Because, Reyza, that's one of the good things is, yeah, I can understand that it might feel like a lot. However, because we have the proper amount, we are able to dedicate the certain time that it takes, right? I'm never going to rush you off the phone. I'm never going to be moving on to the next appointment because I'm making pennies on the dollar, and I'm not really getting what my true value is. So if it's important to you to just hire someone who's the absolute cheapest, then Jonathan sounds like your go-to. If you're looking for somebody who cares and is going to take the time and cares about what your experience looks like, then we still feel very comfortable and confident that we are the right person at 5.5%, which again, I don't do this a lot. If you call me in 2 months after it doesn't sell, I can't promise you that we're right back at 5.5%, right? I mean, we've got some other challenges to overcome. And I mean, what does it look like if you do put your home on the market and it hangs around for 2 months, or Jonathan brings his own buyer and it just doesn't pan out and it's just a bad experience? I mean, how's that going to feel?
I mean, yeah, it sucks because nobody wants to start over, but I think that is a risk that I would need to take. And I think what I have right now is I can afford these extra months because, June is my time. So I'm gonna talk to Jonathan, see if he can do a listing for 2 months just to try it out. And then if not, then I'll contact you if I have a bad experience. I don't know what my experience with him is going to be since I don't know him, but I know that
Right.
my friend had a really good experience with him. And I'm sorry I'm giving you such a hard time, but just as much as you need to protect your commission, I need to protect what I get out of this house. And, I'm alone right now, and not that I'm looking for pity or anything, but as a single mom, and this is the only nest that I have to protect it. And I have to be, I feel like I already compromised on the price, and I feel like I just need you to compromise on your commission. And I get it if you need to walk away, but I'm gonna stand strong on this. I think that you and I can work together. I'm interested in working with you. I will do it for 5%. And I would like you to represent me on the buy side for sure.
Gotcha. And Reyza, I know you had said compromise on the price, but if we ended up getting you 600, would it still feel like a compromise?
No, I would be doing, I'll buy you, what's your favorite drink?
Just water is
I'll
fine
take
for
you
me.
and Ashley out to dinner. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. So Reyza, again, at what we bring to the table, we give you the best chance to get that 600. So it's not a compromise. It's based off of what the market is ultimately telling us. It's again, Hazel, I could tell you what you want to hear, or I could tell you what you need to hear to get you the most money for your home. And that is how we do business. You know, um, it sounds like we both know this is the right fit, and I'd hate to see it go that way, just based off of a couple of bucks. But if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. But Hazel, I mean, listen, we can get this thing sold at 550. We can sell it. Our commission is 5.5, and we can reduce it to 5% if we bring the buyer. Will you list your home with me tonight?
Okay. I really like you. Okay. 5% if you bring the own buyer. Okay, I like your personality a lot more than Jonathan. He was cocky. So I hope Jonathan is not on this call. But yeah, I will list with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my chances, but holy shit, Pete, you better be as strong in negotiating my house, because otherwise I'm firing you. So I will list with you. I like what you have to say, but please, you need to help me out with this house.
Hazel, you have my personal guarantee that I'm going to do everything I can to not only get you the most money, but to advise you in the best way that I know possible. So I'm really excited that we're able to get together and come to an agreement on this. And yeah, let's get the paperwork out of the way.
Now get the fuck out of my house.
Well, gosh, Hazel, you got me over here drinking this like 10 o'clock. I'm like, give it to Jeez. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's my fault, because I said to her yesterday, she's like, I'm going to be tough on you. And I said, no, I'm getting that listing. And she had to bring it.
Man,
so.
you earned that 0.5%.
Can we all clap it up for Pete and Hazel and Harriet? Pete, the reason why I let this go on for so long is because I don't think enough people close 3, 4, 5 times. People give up too freaking easy. I bet everybody on this call, a majority of them are like, shit, I would have done it at 5%. Give it to me. And you know your value, you know what you're worth. And I felt like Pete is going to get up and walk away if he doesn't get what he's worth. And Hazel knew his worth, and she knew he was going to leave. And ultimately, she decided to give it to him. Guys, that's how we have to be. We got to sweat and practice so we don't bleed on Pete, man.
Yeah, I am so impressed that you didn't give up. And I know I'm so sorry we went late, but man, I just needed you to keep going. And like, I was like, man, he is gonna walk away, you know, and I don't know that anybody would have walked away. So guys, if you, I don't know, there's what, 66.
There were like 84 people on here. We got tons of people on Facebook as well.
I'm glad I didn't see that.
Yeah, we had 84.
Pete is by far the best role play partner I have ever had. He would, you know, make me stop, say it again, let's try this. And I am so impressed by you. You're 100% can sell my house. So
thanks, guys. You know, one thing I just want to throw out there real quick, just for anybody who's listening, because I feel like I get this quite a bit sometimes. It's like, oh, you know, you're a natural. And I just want everybody to know that, like, and you can ask Ashley, I don't know if she's still on this call, but like last night I was stressing, yesterday I was stressing as if I was going on an actual listing appointment. Like I was pulling comps, I was frustrated. I had my scripts in front of me. I had so I think it's important just to note that, like, this didn't happen overnight. Like I took DRAD's push class, I think 2 or 3 times. I've, you know, it's a journey. I've been working on this for 8 years on and off. So anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. It's a matter of knowing your value, knowing the scripts, and not scripts word for word necessarily. You have to learn them word for word initially, but it's about understanding the concepts. Once you understand the concepts, you can turn them into your own. But Reyza, thank you so much for those kind words, that tough role play, because guess what, guys, this is going to be the hardest thing I do all day, maybe
That's
all
right.
week. Maybe.
That's right.
This is probably going to be the hardest listening appointment I go on all year.
Yeah, see, when you got up and you walked away for a minute, I
Yeah.
said you went to go throw up. So I loved it. I mean, that was great. And guys, there were so many objection handlers here. If you guys weren't taking notes, I mean, and I love the net sheet. I mean, I love that you did that, and you gave me 3 scenarios that I was able to look at it. You know, you're well prepared. So
this was amazing, and I want to make sure I'm being respectful, Reyza, to your time, and Pete, to your time. Do you have a few minutes if people have questions or want to give feedback?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I would also love to hear, you know, guys, if you think there's something I can do better, like I'm a student of this game, this is our profession. Please, I want to know. I appreciate the compliments and things that you took away. I also want to hear that because it helps me help other people when I have these conversations. But please, if there's room where you notice I would have done it differently, or you stumbled on this or whatever, please be honest, be fair, and let me know.
Okay, so I got Ashley, and then I have Diego. Again, I want to say thank you guys, but go ahead, Ashley, you're up.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That was so good. That was so good, Pete. Because I'd have fought. I'd have been like, bitch, you don't know what you're talking about. Excuse my language. It's early. But I was getting so, like, I was like sweating over here for you. Like, oh my gosh, Reyza. Like, I was in the hot seat. I was like, why is my heart racing? But that was so good. What I loved from the very beginning is I took notes, is that you internalized the script. You can tell you internalized the script. You can tell that you weren't going word for word as I do, right? But you weren't going word for word. You were kind of jumping around, but you were hitting every part of it. And I loved it. And when you started saying for example, exactly when you said, for example, and went over the card explanation, I was like, let's go, Pete. And I love that you put in the timing. I love that. I love that you broke down, like, let's really talk about the time. If you want to be out of here by June, we got to really know what's going on and how long it would take for your home to actually get on the market, get under contract, and get sold. That was brilliant. I love that you isolated too. You were like, okay, so now that we're good for January to get you sold by June, let's move on, right? And then you moved on to pricing. I thought that was brilliant. And then I love that when you went through the comps, that you pulled up her house first and went through her house with her. Like, this is your house. Because a lot of people don't know exactly what their square footage is for real, and what it looks like from the MLS side, right? I thought that was brilliant. I also love that you showed like the active competition and what they were doing wrong from the beginning, right? 30 days, they dropped their price. I love that. After that, I loved how you explained the triangle. I thought that was cool too. I think you could have went more into how an auction works, right? Like, you could have asked her, hey, you know, a little bit more about that. I would have loved to hear more examples, like parables almost, to bring her into the conversation. But I thought you did the pricing very, very well. The only thing for the commission, I think you were brilliant. The only thing I wish you would have done was explain to her what 1.5% really is in dollar amounts, because I love that you pulled out that net sheet, and I'm going to take your net sheet and copy it because that was brilliant. But if you would have said, hey, 1.5% for a house like this we're talking about $9,000 to $11,000. Would you want to make $30,000 less to save $9,000? You know, like, if you would have broke it down into actual like numbers, I think it would have brought it home to her faster. But other than that, yo.
Ashley, really good feedback. And Pete, you know what they say, amateurs practice till they get it right. Professionals practice till they can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong, man. You were on fire. Diego, you're up.
Good job, Pete. Really, really great. Thank you, Reyza, for being tough on especially the commission part. Like you said, there was a lot of great objection handles that Pete definitely overcame a lot of those. Really good job. I liked when you were explaining the market and the difference between the June market at 8% and this market now that interest rates are going lower, right? And that they're talking about even lowering them, in the coming months, but nobody knows. Only thing that I picked up on that I feel that maybe we should stay away from is saying how maybe that might make prices increase, in the spring or moving forward once interest rates drop, right? Because now you don't want her to be like, all right, now I want to wait to sell. The reinvest question, great question. That's also one of the questions that I always ask, especially if it's somebody that's worried about money and saving and has a kid going to college. Great question. And maybe add like, hey, look, I this is what I do for a living. Have you ever thought of investing in real estate? Maybe I could get together with a financial advisor and we could think of a way to invest in, help you move this money into real estate and make that pay for your kid's college fund. When you were talking about what price do you have to have, maybe get a little more clarity on what price you would have to have in her pocket. Right? Not just the list price, but in her pocket. And with the multiple offer thing, as far as the listing price, I guess maybe go a little deeper into explaining how the multiple offer situation would help waiving appraisal and waiving this, because you could list your home at 600K and somebody could come and offer you 650, but if it appraises at 575, now what?
Right.
And I would have also caved. I would have, I would have said, "Look, I'll take 5.5, and if I bring the buyer, I'll match your other agent's commission at 4."
Well, I just want to touch on the price increases. So I thought about that, but because she also had to buy, I felt more confident, like more comfortable using that because there's always two sides to everything. So, but that's a great point. Just wanted to throw some context in there before someone else goes out and starts. That's a really good point, Diego.
All right, and just keep in mind, guys, if you've heard the feedback given already, let's not repeat the feedback. I'm going to jump to Sally first because I know Sally has a busy schedule and I don't want her to have to leave. So I'm going to let Sally go next, and then I'll go to Realtor Feliciano. Hey, Sally.
Hi. So fantastic job, Reyza and Pete. I'm just blown away by how good you both were. Couple of things I just want to point out. I loved, Pete, that you kept trying to tie her down and get her agreement. Whenever you were talking about something, you would say, don't you agree? Or something else that would get her agreement. I thought that was fantastic. The other thing I loved is you kept coming back to her motivation and reminding her of why she wanted to do this. That's fantastic. You kept trying to close her multiple times. That's good. And you showed you really cared about her by not just talking about, her house, but when you got into the part Diego just mentioned about the investments. So what's the expression? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yep.
That's a great example. So kudos to both of you.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you, Sally. Realtor Feliciano, you're up.
Good morning, everybody. Good rolls, Peter and the other girl, Reyza. And Diego, yes, Diego, you did a good explanation, and Sally about one of my points that I wanted to do, but let's go to the dictionary of you narrow her down to the point that she couldn't get upset and walk away. What happened if she walk away from the deal? Say, no, I'm not gonna move. This is my situation, blah, blah, blah. What would you done after she hang up? Do you give her another call, trying to win her back? Or what will be your point to trying to get that deal back to?
So D-Rad says it all the time, we generate so we don't have to tolerate, right? And I think when you have a strong pipeline, when you're continually coming from a place of abundance and you genuinely believe in your heart that you're going to do a better job and you deserve your full commission, you are prepared to walk away if it doesn't make sense. Now, am I going to walk away over 0.5%? I mean, maybe I have. You know, I've stayed strong on my commission. I'll tell you one thing, I'm not doing it for 4.5%. I'm not doing it for 4%. It all has to make sense. We certainly had some limited time on how I would have liked to get into a little bit more of like the buy on the other side versus, because a lot of times, you know, we can get thrown that. And what I was prepared to say to her was, okay, fair enough. We know a lot of things can change. Are you prepared to pay my buyer commission in advance? And the answer would have been no. Because what happens, you list the property and then what? They find something else through off market or they end up just renting. You can't base one decision off of another. So I think that's important to keep in mind too. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, yeah, if it didn't make sense, if she wanted to list the property at 600,000, which was 50,000 over list price for it, no, I'm not taking that listing. You generate every single day so that you don't have to tolerate, because there's nothing good that's going to come from overlisting a property for a discounted commission.
Pete, I'm so glad you said that, and I hope you guys heard him. We lead generate every day so we don't have to tolerate. Keep that pipeline filled. Mr. Richard, you're up.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity to speak. That's just what I was going to touch on, is not operating out of a place of scarcity to where you feel like you have to take every single listing or every single buyer that comes across your path, especially when you know it's going to be a waste of your time and a waste of their time and resources. Another thing I want to touch on, Pete, man, was I like how when you were handling the objections, you weren't talking at her. You were asking her questions to get her to self-discover those truths and those answers for herself. That way, it wasn't a push and pull. It was more of like, hey, I'm going to put the ball in your court and let you self-discover those answers. Another thing that I kind of thought was maybe something I would have done a little bit differently was the calendar. When you pull the calendar up and it had a bunch of stuff on it, I think it kind of detracts away from the overall goal and the intention of the listing presentation, because she kind of got off topic talking about trash and a whole bunch of other things. And you know, when you work with some clients, man, they're like chatterboxes and they just start talking and they get way off field and go left, you know. But overall, I think it was really great. I got a lot of golden nuggets out of this. And yeah, this is like my second time on this call, so I'll definitely be back.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Go ahead.
I really felt that Pete was very passionate about what he does.
Yes.
I kept saying, and I meant when I said, I hope Jonathan is a real agent. I hope he's not on the call, but I kept saying, he was a little cocky and I didn't like that. And I really felt like, man, he's really passionate about really defending his commission. You know, maybe that's someone I want on my side on the other end. You know, I really felt like that was important for me to, man, like I want that person to be representing me on the other side, you know, when I'm about to buy something.
Love that.
And I, in my head, I thought, you know, will Jonathan represent me on the other side with just as much passion? And I didn't think so, you know.
Yeah,
Jonathan, I didn't even talk to him.
Hey guys, throw a yes in the chat if you want to see more of these role plays. Diego, you're up. I'm gonna give you the final word before I make a quick announcement.
No, I just wanted to add your tonality, Pete. Good freaking job, man, with your tonality and the way you explain things. And you know, it's not too fast, it's not too slow. Great job.
Yeah, you come off very, the comments are hysterical. Someone wrote that I had different hairstyles in each objection.
I know, you're like braiding and...
I know, braiding. And then someone said that their cuticles are bleeding. I thought that was hysterical. So
that was it. Hey, so I appreciate you, Pete and Hayes. I'm going to take you guys out to lunch and really thank you for this. But it's so amazing, you know, I started Push like a little over 4 years ago. And Paige, I know you've been through Push, what, 8 or 9 times, Pete 2 or 3 times. And it really shows. And you guys you have internalized this process. And I'm super proud of you guys. I do want everyone to know we're going to do more of this. However, we're going to take a break for the holidays. We're coming back on January 5th, and we're going to do some scripting and role playing around expireds. And you guys know, you should know that this is the season for expireds. And so we need to know what to say and how to approach those opportunities. And we're going to cover that on January 5th. So I want to thank everyone for being here. This is recorded.
Before we go, I ask, is there anyone that's still on this call that would volunteer to role play with me next time?
Well, damn. I wasn't going to say that, but I think that is a great listen. Here's the thing, Hazen, and I appreciate you throwing that out there. We joke around and we call you Harriet, but like Pete said, you sweat in practice so you don't bleed in war. This was the toughest call he will ever have. Any seller he talks to after talking to Haza, he's going to be like, I got this. It's a piece of cake. I dealt with Haza. This is a type of practice we need because you guys are practicing on your paycheck. You're working hard, making calls and booking listing appointments and walking away empty-handed because you don't know what to say. You don't know how to overcome. You're not pushing hard enough for the opportunity. Get out of your comfort zone. Let's learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Put yourself out there like Pete did. You will learn. You will be better for it. I love to see somebody raise their hand and say, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to role play with Haza. Who's going to give it up? Who's going to do it? Raise your hand. I want to have Look, Ashley took her hand out. She was like, I got a question, but I'm taking my hand out.
I think somebody put it on the chat.
Okay.
I would love to role play Julia.
Julia, perfect. All right, Julia. All right. I'm writing this down. Haza, way to bring the energy. So yeah, I just want to say to you guys, I really appreciate everything. Make sure you guys are plugging in. Morning Mindset Call, Real Talk, all the script practices that we're doing. This was almost an hour and a half of time that Pete and Haza gave you guys to help you level up. Take advantage of that. People are willing to help you. We got a great tribe here that Pete's stronger for this. Haza's better for this. You guys who plugged in are better for it. I really appreciate you guys. And Ashley, I'm going to give you the last word. And before you unmute, Ashley, this is recorded. You guys will get a recording of this, just so you know.
Yes, and I have to go soon because Mina's going to fire me.
Yeah.
Mina's on here. Mina, give her a couple more minutes, Mina.
I looked at the recording sign and was like, oops. I was going to say, I've seen on your calendar, Pete, that you have role play at 7:40. Where are you doing role play at? Because I would love to jump on a role play call with you.
Yeah, so that's more of a suggestion than a thing that so there's actually I'll send you some. So I dropped if you want that net proceeds sheet, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. You can go to connectwithcopec.com. All my stuff is there, and just shoot me your email address on there and I'll make sure I get you the net proceeds sheet. That kind of goes out to everybody. But yeah, so we can set something up for role playing. We could definitely set something
I role
up.
play every day at 8, sometimes
At
8:10.
Okay.
But
I love that.
I'll wake up at 7:40 and do a little because I need
P, let's connect on that, man, because I think we need to get some more role play going on. And if you want to send me the
partner matters.
It matters big time.
If you don't have a partner like Pete, like myself, I don't have time to role play, guys. So I don't ask.
But, and just for anybody who maybe wants and doesn't, just literally what I did yesterday and what I do a lot is I'll just sit here and I'll just read it out loud.
Yeah.
Just read it out loud if you don't have somebody to role play with.
But if you have
whatever.
If you have a role play partner that is not going to push you, that's going to give you the appointment on the first, second time, I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody. That's not a good role play partner.
Great.
Your role play partner should be your toughest call of the day. So
I agree.
Yeah.
And Pete, if you send me the seller net, I'll send that out too with the recording. So everyone's there's going to be some people who watch the recording later that are going to want it. And so if you send it to me, I'd be happy to send that out with the recording and the email if you choose to.
Okay, cool.
Guys, it's 10:20. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. I'm about to go get my hike on. I appreciate you guys. Pete, man, I just got to say again, you are a testament of how people can show up when they're willing to put the work in and when you know your value. You fought for your value, man. And I was sitting over here looking at Hayes. I don't know if you guys saw me. I'm like, give it to him already. What are you doing? This guy is. But I love that you made him work, because it shows that we have to be equipped to close multiple times. And Pete, you showed us that, and we all appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, everyone.
Y'all have a good weekend. Be good.
Have a good one, everyone.
All
Bye,
right.
Sally. I'll see you today.
All right. See y'all later.
Is Sally frozen?
I think so.
See y'all.
Oh.